So Palm Sunday, I used to wonder as a kid, what's the big deal? What's Palm Sunday about? We have palms out, and many of you received crosses in the shape of palms. And as a kid, it didn't make a lot of sense to me. People were happy and were saying, Happy Palm Sunday. But as I read the scriptures as a young person, as a child, as a teenager, I saw that Jesus was coming into Jerusalem to be crucified, that he knew that was going to happen. His disciples didn't quite understand that yet, but they were trying to talk him out of coming into Jerusalem because they knew there was going to be this group of people that were going to try to kill Jesus. So I didn't quite get it, why are we celebrating and all of that. But on that original day when Jesus is riding into Jerusalem, and this is in each one of the four Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, in the Christian scriptures, as Jesus is riding in, people are waving palms and they're putting them on the roadway in front of him as well as their clothes, their cloaks. And they're like making their own red carpet, if you will, for Jesus to come into Jerusalem. He comes in on a donkey, a young donkey that no one's probably ever ridden on before. And I'm thinking, as a kid, what is going on here? I mean, have you ever wondered that? Am I the only one? Okay. So I just encourage you to read that sometime and see what is going on here. But I want to explain some things about it. And so it sounds just a little bit hot to me. Brent, I'm getting just a little bit of a ring. Thank you. So, first of all, I want to say, now I'm like, oop. Okay. First of all, I want to say that Jesus is riding in at the hardest time of his life, at the hardest time where he's getting ready for the crucifixion. Now, I don't know about you, but my life has some challenges at times. Do any of you have challenges in your life? Am I the only one? Who here has challenges going on in your life right now? Okay. And I give thanks for the rest of you that don't have any challenges. Everything is going smoothly. You have all the money you need. Thanks be to God, and I expect your tithe. I'm so glad you're prospered, you're blessed. I'm so glad that you are healthy and whole. You have nothing to complain about. I'm grateful for that. And wow, power to you. But the rest of us, we have some challenges at times. We have things that we're dealing with. It may be in a relationship. It may be with finances. It may be with health. It may be in terms of our job. It may be in terms of whatever is going on in our lives. And it's like the outer circumstances. And that's what the disciples were getting locked into, was looking at the outer circumstances. They were looking at how these people were against Jesus and how they wanted to kill him. So they were looking at the outer circumstances. And in this story, they represent that part of us that gets hooked into the story. Have any of you got hooked into your story? And you don't want anyone to talk you out of your story. It's like, you know what's going on, and you know that so-and-so has something against you, and you can just tell, there's something about them, and you just know what your story is, and you're sticking to it, and you're not going to let anything interfere with your story. Well, that's what the disciples were doing in this case. They were locked into their story. Now, how do we, when we're going through a challenge, when we're facing a challenge, whatever it may be, how do we tap into the I am presence? That reading that Reverend Margie did so well came from Keeping a True Lent by Charles Fillmore. And, he's talking about Jesus representing the I am presence. That we all have this I am presence. We all have this presence of the divine within. Some of us are still looking for it. I remember a man in one of the places where I ministered. He had PTSD. He was a veteran from Vietnam. He had faced some hard things in his life, hard things growing up and then hard things in the military. He had seen things and experienced things that no one should have to ever experience. And he came up to me. He had this deep, deep voice, and I can't quite do it, But, Pastor Tim, how do I find that I am presence? I don't know where it is. All I feel is depression, struggle, pain. I don't feel any I am presence. How do I feel it? It's a great opportunity. And all of us have that at times. Maybe I shouldn't say all of us. You may be a little more evolved than I am. But once in a while, I get hooked in the circumstances. Once in a while, I'm not quite following what Jesus said in the Gospel of John when he said, "Judge not by appearances, but judge with righteous judgment." That is, don't get locked into the outer circumstances, but know the truth within. Once in a while, I forget that. Anyone else? Am I the only one? Okay. Good. I'm not the only one. Sometimes I'm thinking, do other people deal with this stuff too? You may think, minister has golden angels that just come and fan him all day and bring him stuff to eat, and he just can live in an ivory tower. No, I'm living right where you are. So, one of the first ways that we can remind ourselves and connect with that I am presence is gratitude. Now, some people, and this is a choice. It's all a choice, You don't have to leave your story behind. You can hold on to your story. You can continue to blame others. You can continue to look outside of yourself thinking that there is someone and something against you. You can continue to look at the world as a dangerous place. You can continue to do that. Or you might turn to gratitude. All of us have a lot to be grateful for. I was just talking to Steve briefly before the service. He said, I'm upright, I'm taking air, I'm grateful. We all have something to be grateful for. I know, that's the danger of talking to a minister. You never know when you're going to get in the message. So, all of us have something to be grateful for. Someone in our life that loves us. That we have some shelter. It may not be perfect. It may not be what we've dreamed about, but we have some sort of shelter. We have some people in our lives who believe in us. We have a spiritual community that supports us and believes in us and doesn't see us as something bad, but sees us as the presence of God. We have this glorious paradise surrounding us, and wherever you are on the mainland, I know some of you, we were talking recently, my wife and I were talking recently with a friend. They still have like 20 feet of snow, and this is in kind of the Lake Tahoe area. And it's like, holy smokes, And then other people, tornadoes and so forth. But I was watching the news last night, and there was this heavy metal concert that was in this venue, and a tornado came and collapsed the building. But they all engaged in rescuing and helping others. They were all there for others. Think about what to be grateful for. There have been people there who have blessed your life, who have touched your life. There is the presence of the I am. And the more I talk about gratitude, the more I feel the I am presence bubbling up within me, because it's our natural state. Our natural state is gratitude. Again, in Sanskrit scriptures, it says that we're Sat Chit Ananda Vigraha. Ananda means bliss. Bliss is our natural state. We had to learn to be unhappy. We had to learn that by our stories and by all of that. But when we get down to who we really are, that I am presence comes up when we are grateful. So I see these people waving their palms and shouting Hosanna. They're getting into gratitude. They're getting into it, right? Secondly, they're remembering their source. They're singing and they're saying, "Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord." They're getting into their source. They're singing and praising the names of God. They're getting into and remembering their alignment and their connection with Spirit. I know it's hard when you're going through a difficult time to remember your connection with Spirit. But that's when we need to turn our eyes from the circumstances and remember what our true source is. Our true source is the presence of the I am. Our true source that we can turn to, that Charles Fillmore called headquarters. They were building the unity movement during the Depression. They had started building at Unity Village, and then the Depression came and they needed to hold that building off for a while. If things got tough, Charles Fillmore would say, "I need to go to headquarters." Remember what headquarters is. It's not the outer circumstances. Headquarters is that divine presence living within you. And I don't know if the word divine trips up any of you, but just know it's that I am presence living itself as you. The presence that is set all in motion. The presence that connects all of us with one another. The presence that connects the worlds together. The presence that makes the water flow. The presence that makes the breezes blow. The presence that makes us all one. The I am presence is what you really are. So we are celebrating the coming of the Christ. They were waving their palm branches, celebrating Jesus coming into Jerusalem. That symbolizes the presence of the I am, rising up within us, welcoming that presence, knowing that what we are setting our eyes on is revealing the true Christ presence as us, the I am presence. So the third thing I want to say is that, hold on. Know that this is not the end. You've heard that phrase probably from, the Most Exotic Marigold Hotel, where he says that everything works out in the end, and if it hasn't worked out, it's not the end. Know that this I am presence is working, living, expressing as you on your behalf. And so if there are challenges, hold on, because as you walk with the Spirit, as you walk in that I am presence, even if you can't quite feel it, keep walking in faith, knowing that it's all going to turn around for you. When Jesus was coming into Jerusalem, he knew that he was going to be crucified. But he knew that was not going to be the end. What may look like the end for you, what may look like as a challenge, what may look like as a financial problem, a health problem, whatever challenge may be going on in your life, it is preparing for the Christ to rise up as you. You are the presence of God waiting to rise up. And that's something to wave palms about. Thank you.